got a remarkable website. Every touch point that people come into contact with your business is remarkable. Your sales process is remarkable, how you generate leads, how you talk to people, the content you share. If all of those touch points are remarkable, then you will be growing your business, and doubling your revenue every 12 months is the goal. Hello, afternoon everybody. My name is Richard Moore. I'm the CEO and founder of Digital Media Edge, and I want to welcome you to episode 10 of the AskDME show. So we started these shows last February, so been running nearly a year now. We're on to episode 10. The whole aim of the shows, if you haven't been on one of our shows before, is really, it was set up as a Q&A show, and then to also bring people in who are guests, experts in certain areas of business growth. So last year we had different people from the world of marketing, strategy planning, sales. We had a range of guests throughout the year. And this year we're going to really focus even more on revenue growth. You'll see the title of today's was Unlocking Business Revenue Growth in 2022. And it really is going to be a focus of ours across this year's shows. Everything we can do to help support people to grow towards 7 figures. Our key customer really is that person who's got to around 350, 500,000 and wants to scale up to £1 million, to that 7-figure turnover. So a lot of what we share and a lot of what we work on a day-to-day basis with clients is all around helping them do that. So again, what we'll do with the show this year is really focusing on some of the key things that we're seeing working with our clients. We'll share them with you, share some of the mistakes, some of the roadblocks, some of the challenges that we see with people, and really just help you unblock those. So if you want to get involved with these shows, keep sending your questions in. We've had 4 really good questions come in that we're going to answer today. And again, last year we had lots of questions for each of the shows sent in, and it was really nice to be able to pick some of those and also have a backlog of questions. So if we ever want to produce a show, we've got lots of questions to answer. So I think there's a couple today that were sent in last year by people. The rest were fresh ones that were sent in over the last week. So again, that's the whole aim of this show. If you've anything you want to know about business growth, anything from strategy to driving the right traffic, attracting the right person to your website, through marketing, through anything to really do with lead generation, right through to sales process, sales pipeline, customer acquisition, customer marketing, client engagement, so that post-sale engagement with your customer base, and systems. Of course, being a HubSpot partner, we're very into having the right system at the heart of your business to make all of this work for you. So today, I'm going to really focus in on a plan for you, and putting in place some strategies, processes, and systems over the next 12 months in your business, especially if you're in B2B. Our core customer is a B2B client who's looking to build these 7-figure businesses. So if you work in business to business, you sell products, solutions, services to other businesses, then this is going to be really relevant for you. If you work in B2C, I'm sure there's lots you'll be able to take away from this as well. It's just that a lot of the examples I'll share are really focused in on that business to business owner, the organization owner of a business to business organization. So today, let's get started. We're going to really, if you want to as well, before I get into the slides, if you want to engage with us during the show and you're watching this on LinkedIn, you'll see there's the LinkedIn live event that you'll have attended. In there, there's comments and chat. You can send those through on there. If you're looking on Facebook, if you're watching the show on Facebook, you'll be able to enter into the comments underneath the live show post. All of those will come through to me here, and we'll be able to see them in our comments section on the in the software that we use in StreamYard here. So anytime you want to engage with us, just ask the questions in the LinkedIn live event comments area. You'll see I've also put in a link there for you to use as well, which is to our new scorecard we've set up, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Right, let's get on with the show then. So really today's show, as I say, was focused on how we get that strategies, processes, and systems for driving predictable revenue growth. Now, when I'm talking with businesses about predictable revenue growth, the idea I have in my mind is, how do I make a business a remarkable business? So really, how do we help support someone and move them from being an average B2B business to being remarkable? And the reason for that is all about revenue growth. Most businesses that we speak to, they're growing fairly well. A lot of them are sort of growing about 20-25% a year. So on average, they're doubling their revenue every 4 years. But what we're trying to put in place is really accelerated growth certainly towards that 7-figure benchmark that we've got. And so that's really where we say, if you've got a remarkable website, every touch point that people come into contact with your business is remarkable. Your sales process is remarkable, how you generate leads, how you talk to people, the content you share. If all of those touch points are remarkable, then you will be growing your business and doubling your revenue every 12 months is the goal. And if you speak to successful businesses, that's effectively what they're achieving. They're practically doubling every single year, past it up to 7 figures and beyond 7 figures. That's what they have in place, because they've got all the key elements, all the right elements in place to enable that to happen. So this is the big idea we're going to work on today. And I think business growth, and I speak to hundreds of business owners every single year, and we've been running DME now for nearly 6 years. And in that time, there's a really predictable pattern that every business owner seems to go through. They go through these 5 stages here in front of you on this slide. And it's very, very predictable how this all works. And also the points where they get stuck. So in startup time, that's when we're all set our business up. There's lots of excitement, there's lots of optimism. It's really when we're proving the concept, taking our product to market, our service to market, and getting those first few customers on. There's no real pressure in startup time. You're really trying to get through to the VAT thresholds. What I always think, that we're trying to prove concept, know that there's a real demand, there's a need for what we do, for our service, for our product, our solution. And we're really trying to get up to that 85k as quickly as possible to get to that VAT threshold and a turnover of 85k. From then we'll start looking at how do we accelerate through to the 7-figure mark. So from really getting the 85k, then we're growing our business revenues year on year, and we're starting to build out our teams. We're starting to build out the different product offerings we have. Everything starts to get more complicated, and this is where 70% of businesses really are. They're in this, what I call the wilderness, a struggle zone, where there's no money, there's no time. They get very stressed, very burnt out as they grow their business. The founder and the owner of the business tends to be someone who's got the main skill set in the business. So he's still delivering client work, he's making sales, he's trying to do some marketing. He'll probably take on a marketing person. He may even take on a salesperson, maybe a graphic designer, building the website out, writing content. All of this activity is taking up 95% of his time. So what happens is, you do find that growth is very, very slow in this period. And that's why 70% of businesses tend to struggle to get out of here, because they start making mistakes, they start coming against challenges that they just can't seem to overcome. I talked when I was talking about this show today, I talked about the famine and feast mentality, where revenue, you've either got loads of revenue and then you're spending all your time delivering for clients because you've had lots of new contracts come in, or you've got very little revenue and you're back out on the road. You're in the sales process again on that hamster wheel of trying to generate more and more new business, as well as satisfying the business you've got, as well as looking after the customers you've got, and recruiting. You're recruiting people, you're running your business, and trying to build your team out as well. So you can see why there's so many things that you have to get right during this wilderness phase before you get to the first real fun part of business after startup's very fun because you've no real pressure on you, and that's when you get to a lifestyle business. You've probably built getting around 500,000 to £1 million here, depending on what your business model is. I always think the 7-figure mark is where a lifestyle business starts. You've probably got a team of 10 to 12 people around you. You've got some really good, well-proven products. You're probably well respected in your market. If it's locally, you're probably well known. You're probably getting well known nationally as well. A bit of thought leadership is in place. And you should really then be generating a 7-figure turnover, probably with good six-figure profits as well. That's what I would say we'd look at as a lifestyle business. So things become more fun. Your time suddenly starts becoming more flexible. I think as the owner and the founder in a business at that lifestyle stage, you have a lot more strategic work that you're doing. You tend to have a good team in place for the delivery to clients, and you're really becoming that figurehead again, probably what you wanted to be when you set your business up in the first place. But obviously most of us are setting businesses up around skill sets we have, and that's why we keep getting pulled back to actually delivering for clients, to doing work in the business. So lifestyle's really the main aim for a lot of business owners, is to get past that seven figures and get that six-figure profit into the bank. So turnover is key to get there, and having processes in place that are going to increase your turnover in a predictable way are critical really to moving out of this struggle zone. Otherwise you'll just end up like 70% of other businesses around you that you'll see that are just backwards and forwards in this zone, and they never really break through into that lifestyle business. There's then, once you get past 2 million, it gets to about 2 million mark, then you start building a real sizable team and a sizable business, and you start pushing through the desert, which is this second struggle zone that people get into as they try and push towards a performance business, which is your 10 million pound plus turnover. And then you're looking at teams of 30, 40, 50 people. You're looking at having a board, having a senior management team. You're looking at having a whole different size business. So again, I think it's really important that business owners, founders, even managing directors have a really clear goal of where they want to go with their business here. And then you set your plans up to get there. So if a lifestyle business is where you want to end up, you're happy at that £1 million, that seven-figure business, having a nice team around you of 12 people where, there's very little overheads, it's high profits. As I say, you've got that good six-figure profit coming in every year, then make sure you set your plans out for that. Often when you get there, and as things gather momentum towards there, then maybe your goals will change. You'll get to here and then you'll think, actually, no, a lifestyle business is very achievable for me. And a lot of this is about our mental approach, about the psychology we have to get through these stages and the challenges each of the stages presents, because each of the stages has its own unique challenges. And I think us as business owners really have to focus in on what are those challenges and then plan strategies to overcome them and put in place, as I say, that structure that you need to get through them. So the challenges that I see on a day-to-day basis, I think they probably break down into three reasons why people struggle to get out of here, struggle to get into this lifestyle business position. And the first of those is lack of money. And I think lack of money, this feast and famine I talked about before, is very much, it's a psychological thing. It's to do with our makeup, how we look at our business, because all money is really, it's just a resource that you have to unlock. And I think in businesses we often overcomplicate money, and we don't put in place, I think it's an asset you need in place, which is lead generation. If you've got lead generation and customer acquisition right at the heart of your business, then you would never have to worry about money. So again, it's a mindset thing, and I think it's driven because in our brain we have these two competing, the limbic system and the reptile, the survival part of our brain. Now the reptile part, the primitive part of our brain, was very much what drove that survival mode in us in the old days when we had to find food to survive. It was very much driven by that primal part of our brain, and this gives rise in the modern world to this scarcity mindset. You're always protecting yourself, you see resources as very limited, and it's that fight or flight mode. So the reptilian brain is probably what we're trying to always satisfy, always stop ourselves panicking. And a lot of business owners are in this state of mind a lot of the time. They're constantly worried, especially after what we've been through over the last couple of years. I think we've all been through it. And you just get into this, this survival mode, really, which stops a lot of the growth mentality you could have had. The emotional part of the brain, that's very much our mammalian monkey brain, very task orientated, very functional. It's a really good worker, likes to get things done, quite easily distracted. So again, if you're jumping from job to job every day when you're in business, again, that's because your monkey brain's in there. But your monkey brain is also the thing that keeps you doing the things that you like. That's your comfort zone, isn't it? That's how you feel comfortable, because you're doing the things you used to doing. Your skill set is being used, and you feel, you're most valued because you're doing the day-to-day work in the business still, rather than letting that go and letting the third part of your brain really come, which is the cortex. That's our frontal lobe, the frontal part. And this is really where you have those that business builder brain. This is where your entrepreneurial brain is. It's because in there we're highly strategic, we're bigger thinkers, we're more optimistic when we're using that part of our brain. And the business brain, again, totally opposite to the reptilian brain, that business builder part of the brain. When you activate that, and when that's where you're thinking most of your day and spending most of your day in there, really working on your business, as Michael Gerber talks about in the E-Myth, about working on your business, not in your business. This is very much why there's the two parts of the brain. This is working in your business here, the mammalian brain. And here is the business builder. This is why we set up in business. This is the optimism we had as a startup. All of that passion and the energy that drives you is driven from having that business builder part of your brain firing every day, because that really sees the world in a very different way. It doesn't see it like the reptilian brain, which is everything's limited. It actually sees the world as everything's unlimited. Resources are out there. I just need to go out there and partner with people with resources. I just need to partner with the right clients. I need to position ourselves correctly in the market. And all of this is driven by that brain. So again, it shouldn't be underestimated how much of this is mental. It's not skills we learn, is this? It's very much how we limit ourselves. So again, think that through. Think of yourself. Where do you spend most of your day? Is it doing tasks and then trying to survive, or are you actually building your business? Is there a certain part of your day every single day that is working on your business to build that business, and you're activating this part of your brain? The second thing is lack of time. So lack of money is a huge thing that we talk to business owners about all the time. And lack of time, again, is mainly back to the fact that the founder is the business in most of those businesses before they get to lifestyle. There's probably the founder and one or two other people in the business, maybe 3 people in the business. But a lot of the skills and a lot of the work that's being done is focused on the founder and why he set the business in the first place up. So when you think about why you set your business, just ask yourself, did I set my business up because I have the skills and that ends up with me doing the work every day? Or did you set the business up because you identified a gap in the market, you identified something that could be done better, and you felt there's a better way to do this? And then again, those are the two types of businesses that tend to grow far quicker. The founder-based business, which is what the majority of self-employed people did. They were probably in a job they weren't enjoying and decided, I'm going to set this up myself. I can do this myself. And that's what they end up doing. And they grow to a certain size, as I say, that 300, 350,000. We come across many, many businesses that have done that as a founder and grown to that level. That's really where they start bumping into challenges. They start plateauing. The growth isn't quite as big as it was in the first few years of business. And it's basically because they become the roadblock. They can't deliver enough. They can't generate enough interest. They're not out there as the thought leader, bringing work into the business. They're actually stuck in the business doing the work on a day-to-day basis. So again, I always say to clients, look at what you're doing on a daily basis and what is functional work and what's vital work. And again, it goes back to that business builder versus mammalian brain. The functional work is the day-to-day work that you should really be having the rest of your team pick up off you so that you can do the vital work on the business, and the vital work will be revenue growth. You should be your own revenue operations manager. Looking at every element of how you can generate revenue should be the vital work that you're focused on, and that should kickstart strategic work, a lot of strategy work, a lot of thinking about the elements of the business, looking at the data that's coming back to you and making decisions based on that. So we'll touch on these first 2 points quite a lot today. And then the third one is a lack of clarity. There's a real problem with having clarity. And I think clarity always, to me, as I dig down into why someone hasn't got clarity about something, it goes back to strategy again or systems. They're just not measuring the right they're measuring the right things to give them clarity on what's working. They haven't planned out a strategy, so they position themselves in the market, so there's real clarity on what they stand for in the market. So they're becoming generalists is my view on that side. So there's a real lack of clarity of this is why I would use you. And then the lack of clarity in their team of what their growth goals are. And again, that's back to strategy. That is back to relaying, this is why we're doing it. This is what we're doing on a daily basis. And this is what our goals are this year. And again, that's back to strategy. So the lack of clarity that people seem to suffer from is really down to having process, having strategy, having system in place. And process is a very clear way of doing things, isn't it? That's all the process is really, is that step by step of this is how we do it here. So again, that gives real clarity as you take new team members on, as you're trying to build a high performance team. You really need to focus in on these three areas. So those are the three reasons that most people stay stuck in that 70% zone and don't get to lifestyle. And as you can tell, I've thought a lot about this over the last year or so. We've put a lot of deep thinking into this. And at the end of the show today, I'll share how we've addressed this as well and how we've helped clients address this. So stay to the end of the show and I'll share some of my thoughts on that at the end of the show as well. Right, so let's get stuck into the questions. But before we do that, how's your growth, your business revenue growth? And what we've done is we've developed a scorecard that you can take. So if you scan that QR code on the screen, or you go to bit.ly/business growth score, you'll be able to take our scorecard, and it basically measures you on 5 areas of your business to show how strongly you score in each of those 5 areas. So it'll go through strategy, so how good you are on strategy. It'll go through lead generation, traffic, how good you are at your marketing and your lead generation piece, getting leads into the business. It'll go through your sales process and engagement. Once those leads are in your CRM, how good are you at engaging with those? It'll go through customer and client relationships. So how good are you at generating reviews? How good are you at having a strong delivery for your clients, so you delight your clients? And then finally, it'll ask you questions about systems, so technology, the way you use processes, systems. And at the end of that, it'll give you a bespoke report just for you and your business on how you scored in each of the areas and recommendations on how to improve it as well. So as I say, take advantage of that. We put a lot of work into it, poured our expertise into it. It's what we've seen working as well. And it's something that I think will help every business owner. And we recommend everybody starts with this just to give themselves really to benchmark their current performance against where they want to be and also best practice in the marketplace. Okay, so take advantage of that. Right, let's get into the questions then. This is a question that was sent in last year and we never quite got round to answering it, so we thought we'd start with it this year. I'm struggling to be clear on what to focus on first to drive revenue growth. Can you help? So we talked a bit about this in my introduction just now. Clarity is a key thing, and I would say focus on your strategy and your system. If you want to get clarity within your business, having a real solid strategy that you're executing on a day-to-day basis, not tactical thinking where you're just executing a tactic that's standalone, but actually everything's connected that you're doing on a daily basis, and just really giving you that clarity on what's working and what isn't working, what needs to be improved and optimized. Again, that's all driven by systems and strategy. So your clarity you're trying to get, I talked about this earlier, is a clarity. Are you really clear in the mind of your buyers, of your prospects, of people out in the marketplace on who you can help and how you can help them? Because that's what everybody's going to judge you on. If they come to your website, or if they see a social media post, if they engage with a blog post, if they download something, is it super clear on who you can help the best and how you can help them and what results and outcomes you can get for them? And then is the clarity amongst your team on your goals for growth. And again, that alignment of everybody in the business pushing the same way and driving the same way, everybody in the business having their own goals underneath the overarching goals of the business growth. That is all driven by strategy. So if you don't have a strategy in place, if it's something you haven't given at least 2 or 3 months thought to and put in place with your team, with your senior leadership team, with your co-founders, whoever you want to sit down and talk this through with, you must get that alignment and clarity amongst your team, because that's key as you scale and grow. And also as you take new team members, as I say, if you're building this high performance team around you, you need to have be super clear about what's expected of each team member and what the overall goals of the business are. And are you on track or off track? And then clarity around what is working, and that's that metrics, getting the key data points in place, getting your KPIs really clear, getting some key metrics measured and reported back to you. So are you receiving reports weekly and monthly on everything that's happening in your business growth? And really you should, we've got dashboards set up with 12 reports on that show the health of DME, show how we're doing, how many leads are coming in, how many customers are there, what revenue we're generating, right the way through to our overall growth goal for the year. So again, have dashboards. You can set all of this up. Technology really needs to be leveraged in this situation, and set those dashboards up so you have total clarity, but also you can be really transparent with your team on how everybody's doing, because that'll just keep everyone driving forward as well. And again, that strategy driving tactics is something we talk about constantly. I've mentioned it 4 or 5 times in the show last year, and it really is the difference. It's that differentiator here, getting that strategy right. You can see some of the elements you need to think about in your strategy. We spend a lot of time, 2 or 3 months now, with clients working on the strategy, getting that in place before we action it, before we go through the growth plan and start actioning it. And making sure that everything's being measured. Everyone's doing everything for a reason in the business, and it's all adding up towards growth. So that strategy driving tactics is really key. Right, on to question 2 then. We always seem to have peaks and troughs in interest. Why does this happen and how can I stop it? And this came in this week from somebody, so it's obviously very relevant at the moment. And it's very much down to at the heart of your business. And I think more important than anything else in any business, and the thing that's lacking, is a conversion optimized lead machine in the heart of their business. So a machine that's basically driving traffic into the website. That traffic's being converted into leads in the CRM. Those leads are being nurtured and put through a very structured sales process. And then at the end of that, customers come out of the other end. So that customer acquisition is working, your sales machine's working to convert those leads into customers. That at the heart of your business is the key to any revenue growth. You can put all the time into everything else if you like. You can develop lots of fancy products, lots of services, lots of different things. But if you don't have that at the heart of your business and it's working consistently well, then you're going to always have peaks and troughs, because your attention will be switching from one to the other. Like I talked about earlier, it's often because in smaller businesses with 3 or 4 people in them, the founder is switching between delivering for clients 1 minute and then going back onto the sales process the next. He's then doing some marketing to generate more leads, maybe out doing some events, running workshops, and generating more and more interest. Then you convert that interest into customers, and then you pull back into your business. And that's why you get this up and down all the time through the year. Whereas if you've got at the heart of the business a way of generating really good fit leads, and then a way of converting those leads into customers and revenue, then that machine there is what's going to really help you grow. And you'll have multiple ones of these at the end of working with anyone or building your own sales processes out. You should have multiple campaigns that are running at any set time, all going through a very, very structured sales process that's going to convert for you. So that would be my answer to that question. Usually the up and down is just down to poor lead generation and inconsistent customer acquisition and sales processes. They don't really have a structured sales process. It's sort of converting at maybe 20%, maybe even less than that in a lot of cases. And that's really down to poor leads being generated, poor quality, or a lack of volume of leads at the front end, and then a poor sales process that's not being converted. So focus on that. And if I put this into some sort of context, it'll look like something like this. So you set your business up, and then your activity, as I say, as a founder, when you're starting your business in that startup phase, there's maybe one or two of you, and you're doing all the activity yourself. You may be writing blog posts, you're creating your website, you're creating some videos, you're running a podcast, maybe doing a webinar, doing a bit of email marketing. You're probably on social media as well. You'll be on here on LinkedIn. All of this is really the activity that's taking up a majority of your time, just to raise awareness about your business. Then as things start to gather momentum, you start employing a bit of a team around you. So you probably employ a marketer, you may employ a graphic designer, someone to work on the website constantly. You'll have a salesperson. So you start building a smaller team in the hope that they take a lot of this work off you and they're starting to pick this work up. And then at the end of that investment, so you've invested in 3 salaries now, plus your own, plus all of this work, you're hoping that a customer comes out of the other end and some revenue. And that's generally the model that most businesses that I initially talked to follow, even to this day. What we're trying to talk about here is organizing everything into campaigns. So what's your social media strategy? What's your email marketing strategy? So all of this strategic work is planning out each of these elements. Then each of those elements feeds into a very, very structured mini funnel. So every single lead that comes in goes through a set process. And then at the end of that process, we have this reliable, consistent output of customers and revenue. And we build these. This is basically the model for a campaign. So each of these will be set up as a campaign and you'd have multiple mini funnels. But the process and the stages every lead goes through to make sure their questions are answered, make sure that what you do fits what that person's looking for, is very, very structured in the middle of that. And this effectively is what our 90-day program does. We have a 90-day lead and revenue accelerator. And with clients at the heart of it, we're trying to put this in place for them. So at the end, they get brand new leads, brand new revenue across that 3 months. And this is just one mini funnel we put in place for them. And then we identify 3, 4, 5 other mini funnels as well. And that's, again, how you build this volume up and make sure at every stage it's being measured. So what's social media producing for you at the end of this funnel? How many actual customers and revenue is social media producing for you? What's your ROI? How are your emails being opened? What emails are being opened by people? How's your email marketing and your follow-up? And then your website content, what blog content are people reading? What calls to action are they clicking on your website? What funnel, what offers and conversion offers are the ones that are converting the most people into leads in your database? How's your website speaking to customers? All of these things, the videos that you're putting up on YouTube, the videos that are on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, all of these, how are they working to generate leads into that mini funnel for you? So again, that's really what we're trying to get with everybody. So it's really predictable and the outcome's very predictable at this end. You'll know exactly how many customers and what inputs you need to put in at this end to get the outputs at that end. So again, focus on that to get away from that up and down. And the other thing I talk about a lot with people is don't focus on volume first. The number of times I hear from people, I just need more leads, Richard. And you don't need more leads. You need actually to make sure that every stage of your conversion process converts at the right level and then feed volume into it. Most clients, we look at their database, we look at what leads they have in their CRM, and they've got more than enough leads. They're just not engaged with them in the right way. They're not actually putting them through a process, identifying who a good fit lead is versus someone who's a passive buyer who may buy in 6 months, and focusing all your time on those active buyers. All of these things, and then having a really high conversion and measuring the conversion at every level of your process is key. Once that conversion's working, then by all means add more volume into it, add more traffic into it, more social media traffic, paid traffic. All of that can accelerate your growth. But we always equate it to a leaky bucket. If you pour water into a leaky bucket, it's constantly leaking out of the bottom. Once you've got a funnel that's super tight, conversion optimized, as you pour traffic into the top of here, it will convert as it runs down. So again, think of it in that way. Look at the analogy of fix my leaky bucket first and then add more volume to it. Right, on to question 3. What time are we on, Rach? 33 minutes, so we're on track. Any questions come in yet? Anyone asked any questions? Let me just check the none I can see. If you have any questions, just to say fire away as we go through, and I will ask them. I'll answer them at the end or answer them as we go along. Right, so let's get on to question 3 then. I struggle to attract the right type of person to our website. How can I change this? And again, this was one that came in last year. And I think the answer is something that I talk an awful lot about again, and that's niching. That's dominating sectors rather than going broad, going narrower and narrower and going deeper. And I think to grow a 7-figure business, most people who get to £1 million aren't selling broad service and solutions. They're really, really clear on who they can help and how they can help them. So what pains, challenges and problems do you solve as a business better than anyone else out there, and for who? And that's the key thing. Once you get known as the people to go to for whatever you do in a certain sector, then price goes out the window. People want to work with you, and you're not always competing on price. They know the value you'll bring. They know the outcomes and results that you'll bring for them. And that's why, back to buyer personas again, back to identifying what sector you do the best in, so your ideal customer profile. And we touch on this nearly every show because it is slowly getting through, but people still seem to think, oh, well, we just service everybody, Richard. Our services they suit everybody. Our products, our solutions, are broad. But I can guarantee if I sat down with that customer, anybody who says that to me, and I go through the last 100 orders, there is always a pattern. There's always a certain sector, especially in business to business, as certain sectors that they do far better in, they're well regarded in, they've got really good reviews from, their service fits better than anything else. And so spending time identifying that sector, that vertical, that industry that you service is key. And yes, I mean, all you're doing when you're doing this first step is another campaign. So all you're doing when you're niching out is producing a campaign for that sector. But that is your key revenue growth sector. That's where you can dominate. You already have good track record in there. You'll have lots of customer testimonials. You'll have case studies in that sector. And as we're doing our research now and looking for solutions, looking for products and services online, that's what we gravitate towards. Who's the expert in that sector? Who's the best in that sector? And the best will always, I don't know if anyone's ever read Seth Godin's The Dip, but he always talks about why being the best in a certain thing is so important. And it's because you get 10 times more opportunities than anybody else, even the second place person. Same on Google search. All of these things have the same model. So being well known in one sector is the way to get to 7 figures, in my opinion. Dominating that, going from locally really good in that industry. So in Lincolnshire, because we're based in Lincolnshire now, in Lincolnshire starting off, then spreading out to Nottinghamshire, Leicestershire, South Yorkshire, and then going national with it. The more your reputation precedes you, the more business will come in naturally. And as I say, the beauty of this, of understanding who that person is and them knowing that you can deliver the result for them in that sector is just means your price nearly goes out of the window. Basically they're happy to pay you a premium because they know you're the best at what you do. So put work into your buyer personas. I say it all the time, but really think through who they are, who they work for, what's their industry they're in. Make yourself a target list of companies within that industry, maybe 200 companies that you want to work within that industry and that you're going to touch base with this year. And then who are the key people within that industry, within those companies that you need to be in front of? then build out your buyer personas. And think of your champion first. Think of the first person who's going to open that conversation, who's going to be around the table with you when you reach out to them. It may be the owner of the business, it may be the head of marketing, it may be the finance director. All depends on what product and service you sell. And Glenn Carlson, I read a lot of Daniel Priestley's books. I'm actually doing the accelerator program, the Key Positive Influence Accelerator program with Glenn Carlson and Daniel Priestley. And they talk in there a lot about businesses now have to realize they're in the destination business. You know, when you book a seat on a plane to fly somewhere, you don't pay for the seat, you pay for the destination, you pay for getting there. And basically that's what businesses do. People will pay us for the outcomes and the results that we can help them achieve. You know, and that is key to understanding who those people are. Okay, so when you want to unlock your value, you've got to know what pain are they in, what are their main pains, challenges, struggles and frustrations that you hear from your buyer persona. So when you're sat around the table talking initially with these people, what are the questions they're asking you? What are the pain points they're talking about? You know, what are the challenges they're facing that you can help them with? You know, make a list of this. We did it in our business, and we made a list of 99 challenges. We came up with 99. We forced ourselves to get 99 problems because we wanted to know how it's, you know, the actual cost of that problem. We wanted to dig into the consequences of it. We wanted to dig into the symptoms of that problem. You know, we wanted to know everything we could about that problem because they all manifest themselves in a different way. So here you can see symptoms, the source of the problem, the costs and consequences. Then think about the obstacles. What are the things they're doing on a day-to-day basis, the mistakes that your buyer is making on a day-to-day basis that's stopping them resolving those pains? And this usually will break down into poor thinking and poor actions. So things they're doing and things they believe. So again, you've got to address the things they believe, the mistakes they're making, as well as the actions that they're doing, because that's all stopping them getting to their prize. And this is what we were talking about earlier. This is the desired outcome. This is the solution to their pain. This is the result they're trying to achieve. You know, they're not buying the product off you just to be with you. They're buying it off you to get that result. So that is how you must position your value. You position your value is, if you use us, I will take you from the pain. We'll overcome your obstacles and the mistakes that you're making. And then at the end, we will get you to this desired outcome. And that, if that is your value proposition, and you can actually position yourself and portray that in all your copy, everything you have on your website, and people get that in that set sector, focused on certain sectors and for certain people within those sectors, then my belief is you will get to 7 figures. Nothing will stop you getting to 7 figures because people are pricing what you do on the value and on the outcome. You know, they're not paying you per hour. They're paying you on, you can help me achieve my outcome. Okay, so that is really how you attract the right people. It's first of all, understand who they are, how they make a buying decision, and then unlock your value. Just talk to them about their pains, about the mistakes they're making, and about their prizes, about the upside, about the payoffs that they'll receive at the end of it. Really, really key is that. Right, question 4, final question of the day, everyone. Any other questions coming? I'll just keep checking. Nothing else at the moment. What are the key elements of a system I need in place to grow my business? Well, we talked about building a system, building processes, having a strategy, and how that adds clarity to everything we're doing. And I think when we look at building systems with clients and how we embrace technology and the different tools they're going to need, the different metrics they're going to be measuring, the data, things like that, we're always thinking about scale. So this is a great system for now, but how will it help the business scale? How will it help that business grow and support the growth? Does it make the business more efficient? Does it give the data and the information that the owners need to make the right decisions going forward? So again, focus on building something that's connected, so that everything talks to everything else. So again, a lot of businesses will have bought software over the years that are totally unconnected. They might have a CRM or a database over here. They might have a few social media tools they're using. The sales team might be using their own set of tools. Try and bring all that together, try and connect it all together, because it makes reporting and understanding what's working far easier, far more straightforward to run reports and get the data out of the system that you need. And also that central part of it must have something that records every touch point with customers, every touch point with a lead, with prospects, with partners. Everything that happens in your business has to be recorded somewhere that everybody can get to. And we call that a single source of truth for a reason, because if everybody's using it and the data's constantly up to date, then you'll be able to see every interaction. And if you don't talk to someone on the phone, it's someone else talking to them, but you can log into your system and see all the conversations that have happened so far. You can be very contextual with the conversations you have with that person. If you haven't got a clue what John said to them 2 weeks ago, or you don't know how on earth they came into your ecosystem, did they come through the website? Did they come through social media? Did they respond to an ad? Was it an event they met you at? Then you've no clue of how to make that a personal relationship with them, and that personalizing it and knowing how to talk to people, because you've got the information on what's important to them. These are the pains they're going through. This is what we've talked about so far. These are the next steps. All of that should be in one place, and then get the metrics that are going to be able to measure what's working. That is so key, because until you systemize something, you can't optimize it, because you don't know what's working and what isn't. And again, that comes back to opinion. You end up talking to people who say, oh, that didn't work for us. Well, I'll say, just show me the data then. Why didn't it work? What element wasn't working? And again, that's what you've got to be able to do is in your own businesses, say, these are the things that are really working, and we need to absolutely hammer onto those, get down on those, and just make sure we focus on making those work more and more, invest our money here because we know it works. And these are the things that aren't working, so we can stop doing those for now. And these are the ones that, if we put a bit more effort in, we can optimize and make them work, and we can just keep improving and growing the business in that way. And that's, again, what I talked about at the start, about being remarkable, having that data to really help you be remarkable. So the 4 elements we would look for is that single source of truth, a CRM that records all those touch points, the ability to measure everything that's happening across the business. So can we put in place data and metrics for everything, right from website stats of people coming into the website, right through to ROI on our marketing efforts? So every source of lead that you have, which one is the most profitable for you? Where should be investing your money there? Closed loop reporting, so end-to-end reporting. So everything that's happened right from first touch point all the way through to them being a customer and rebuying off you, and how your existing customers, your lifetime value, your cost of customer acquisition, all of these are key bits of data that can help you decide what to invest into marketing. How much do I need to spend to generate a new customer? How many times do they buy off us now, and can we improve that? So all of that closed loop reporting is really key. And as I talked about earlier, having dashboards and easy ways of seeing that data practically live as it happens is really key in the modern world to running a business that's growing. And then having connected tools to leverage. So that suite of tools that will allow you to build your business in a very structured way. I'll just quickly go through those. So this is HubSpot, so obviously being a partner, this is the CRM we use. There's many different alternatives out there, but we love it because it is so simple to use. Everyone can use it. Every client we onboard onto it. By the end of the onboarding sessions we have with them, everyone in their business is using it. So everything's going centrally. All the information about every contact, where they came from, what lists they belong to, what website pages they're viewing, all of that is in there. What did they download? What PDFs are they opening regularly? So it really is that single source of truth. Ease of use for the entire business. You can see here, this is just an animated GIF just running through. You can see how your contacts are stored, your CRM, you've got your marketing tools, you've got sales tools in here, service tools and support for existing customers, automation tools. Your website can be run through this as well, so you can add blog posts in here. So every activity within your business is within one platform, and it's easy to use. That's the beauty of it. It gives all the key tools that each of your teams need are all in one place. And a connected ecosystem of those tools. So your SEO, blog, website, social media, running your ads through it. At the top end, as you're attracting people through, then as you convert those people, there's calls to action, landing pages, forms are all available. Then we've got our email nurturing, we've got marketing automation, we've got all the data going into our CRM, we've got contacts and lead scoring. So who's the most engaged leads? Are you scoring them on? And is the sales team then speaking to them regularly, the most engaged leads, because those are the warmest leads and likely to convert the quickest. And then how do you delight your customers at the end of it? So there's a lot of ways to use smart content. So on your website, existing customers see a totally different website page to a new visitor, to someone who isn't a lead or a customer yet. So you can have specific smart content just for customers set up, making it very personal to them. Same in emails. Emails, you can have different calls to action appearing, different things appearing, and have dynamic emails in templates. And then reporting and analytics. So all of these being connected just makes your life far easier as you grow in your revenue. And then the metrics to measure everything here. You can see lead sources, how much paid search, how many sessions, how many contacts that's created, how many customers have come out of that. So all of this is making it really easy for you to judge the ROI on your marketing spend. You've got your social media audiences, your website traffic, your marketing performance, landing pages, blog posts, emails. All of that should be available in a dashboard so you can see what's working. Okay, so that's everything from me. Any other questions from you guys? Hopefully that's been really useful. It's given you the key areas to think about. Maybe it's highlighted some of the blocks or some of the challenges that you're facing yourselves in your business. If you are pushing towards that 7 figures and you want any help, then just reach out to me. We'll always share advice, always share some ideas for you to help you get going. But there's a lot in there for people to absorb, and hopefully it's been really valuable for you. Some of the things we've been working on, I promised I'd share this. We've developed what we call, over the last year, we've called it the steps growth methodology. And effectively, it's how to address a lot of these things for our clients. So what we've seen working over the past 6 years, we've put into best practice and we've developed it into an approach that we use with every client. So on our 90-day lead and revenue accelerator, we're putting in place this piece of the puzzle here. We're probably putting in a system, a little bit of strategy work, but it'll be mainly focused on getting that high converting conversion mini funnel in place with an offer at the top of it and then driving some traffic into it. So that's what we'll do really, because we want that proof of concept that this works, that it'll generate new leads and new revenue for people. And then after that, we really focus in on each of the key elements. So we'll spend a quarter on, probably 3 months on planning out a proper strategy with a client. We'll then move on to the different types of campaign, the different lead sources, different traffic sources, how we engage with those leads will be another part of the process. And then promoters is all about our existing customer marketing. So how do we nurture that client engagement, delight customers, and turn them into people who are promoting our business? You know, once someone loves what you do, they're quite happy to go out there and talk about it, quite happy to give you a review, quite happy to give you a testimonial, be used as a case study. All of this is also feeding into them buying more off you, so using you for more and more services. So again, once you get strategy, traffic, engagement, and promoters working all around a system, and right throughout the whole process, we're building these systems out, just making sure the right system is in place to make this work for people. So that's really our methodology. And we found it just the principles and processes we have in this methodology help people get to 7 figures. There's no doubt about it. We've worked with clients that have gone to 7 figures and beyond. One client who went to 28 million and exited for that. Another that exited for 8 million that we worked with. You know, these are things that we know work, and especially in business to business organizations. So if you're an owner and want to build 7 figures, we know the steps growth methodology will systematically help you get there. Okay, so what was your score? Come on, tell me what your score was. Send me an email with your scores in. I'm finishing off there. If you didn't do the growth scorecard yet, hopefully that's given you more reason to get it done now. Just either scan that QR code with your phone on the screen now, or visit bit.ly/business growth score and send in your questions for next month. Let's just unshare those. So next month we've got the next show is on Wednesday, the 16th of February, 2022. And we've invited Peter Watson, the co-founder of Distract. He's written a book recently on building niche and building influence in niches called The Niche Influence. So invited Peter on to talk about that and the importance again on niching. We just talked about it there, why it's so important to dominate your niche and be seen as the expert and the specialist in that niche rather than a generalist. So join us for the show then. If you have any questions you want myself or Peter to answer in that show, then by all means send them in to us, support@digitalmediaedge.co.uk, or you can DM me on LinkedIn, send the questions through that way, or just put them in the comments once we put the show details up. All right, have a great month, and I'll look forward to seeing you next month, and take care. Bye now.